Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us, Brandon. It was great meeting you in Fort McMurray. We talked about doing this, so it's crazy how time flies. It's already here, but thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So let's start here. We're going to dive into your hockey career, your family. We'll dive into Three Nolans, all the work you're doing. But 20 years ago, you moved to Whitby when you were drafted by the Oshawa Generals. You played hockey there for a number of years, but since then, Whitby has been home to you. What does this community, what does this town mean to you, and what do you think of when you think of Whitby, Ontario?
Yeah, Whitby's definitely my second home. First and foremost, I'm from Garden River First Nation, just a small reserve outside of Sault Ste. Marie, which I'm extremely proud to be a member of, Ojibwe from Garden River. But Whitby is definitely a second home for me. I've been here now for 20 years. Played for the Oshawa Generals when I was just a young kid, turning 16 years old. And when I was 19, ended up meeting my wife, Stephanie, who was from Whitby. And, been married now for 10 years, have 3 kids. And I'm just happy, excited to be a part of this community. And my kids are playing hockey now, so Whitby is definitely a special place. And I think a place that we'll probably live for the rest of our lives.
And family is a big part of what you do and what you've done throughout your career, playing and otherwise. So you've got your family out here today. It's great to see. We met Hunter earlier. Your wife and the rest of the kids are out there, which is great to see. Now, from Garden River, as you mentioned, you're Ojibwe yourself. Your father, Ted, as we all know, fantastic coach in the NHL, former player as well, won the Jack Adams in '97. For you and Jordan, and I know we'll talk about your mom, Sandra, as well, but the two of them, what kind of role models were they like for you, and how did they help you start your path towards success, which you're now living?
Yeah, my parents just kind of, just taught me about hard work growing up, first and foremost, whether it was, vacuuming or doing house chores or playing hockey. If you're going to do something, you're going to do it right, and you're going to work hard. And secondly, they taught me the importance of giving back to communities, to certain individuals, and it's been a passion of mine ever since I turned pro at the age of 20. I'm 36 years old now, but we started a hockey school back in 2013, and it was first and foremost to give back to First Nation youth all across Canada. So it's been a passion of mine ever since I was 20 years old, as I said, and just trying to give back as much as we can to Indigenous people across Canada. And we get to go to amazing places all across Canada, small flying communities where you have to take a small bush plane in. You got to stop 5 times to get up in the James Bay coast, and we just absolutely love it. And there's nothing I'd rather be doing than giving back to First Nation people across Canada.
Now, I want to talk about the birth of Three Nolan. So you had a fantastic hockey career. You played for the Oshawa Generals, played pro for the Manitoba Moose, played a little bit in ECHL. You lived your dream playing a handful of games for the Carolina Hurricanes. After your career, you went back to school in nearby Durham College there, and you got your advanced degree in business and marketing there. And you, with your father and brother, created Three Nolans. What was the conceptualization behind that? What were you looking to do, and how did that whole idea begin?
Yeah, at the time I was just 25 years old, just playing pro hockey, as you mentioned, and I thought I was going to have a long career and, playing the minors or playing the NHL if I was going to be fortunate enough. But when I was 25, I suffered a career-ending concussion, and to that day, till now, I never played a hockey game again. So the concussion was tough to get over. I had to go through many obstacles, and I couldn't go to the mall, I couldn't go to the movies, I couldn't just do normal things, and I just decided to go back to school, as you mentioned, and got a degree in business marketing, and I had a couple small jobs here, small jobs there, just trying to get my foot in the door, because outside of hockey, that's all I really knew until I went back to school, and I was just doing these small jobs here and there, and just actually attended a youth event that I wasn't actually a part of, but I was on the outside looking in, and it was all about entrepreneurship, and I just got really inspired at the event. It was all Indigenous people, all Indigenous entrepreneurs. Everyone at the event was under 30 years old, and it was at that event that I got inspired to, kind of put my foot where I wanted to, and just kind of talked with my brother and my father, and we came up with the idea to start the hockey school, which eventually led to a lot of charity work that we do, and then that eventually led to a clothing line that we created. So, everything we do kind of has an Indigenous feel to it. serving Indigenous communities, serving Indigenous youth, and that's kind of just been my life goal as to this point now, and moving forward, I think it's going to continue.
And so with the camp, and I was really interested when I was talking to you and your father Ted out in Fort McMurray. It's a weekend-long camp. You go to different Indigenous communities across the country, and as you mentioned, sometimes they're not the easiest to get to, but that never stops. And you get in, and first and foremost, I mean, yes, hockey is a big part of it. As we know, hockey's a tremendous unifier across the country here. But when you're going to these communities, you're offering so much more than teaching hockey skills and developing them. There's a huge off-ice component as well. You're working with these kids and teaching them life lessons, very valuable life lessons. What is that off-ice component to Three Nolan's hockey camp that is so important to you?
Yeah, the off-ice is definitely the most important. I mean, hockey is such an amazing sport, and you get to play a game for fun and meet new friends. But as you grow up and you play hockey, you realize the most important thing is those connections you make. Meeting new friends, and then having opportunities to give back or to be a role model, to be a positive influence in your community. So we always use hockey to get the kids out of our camps. And then we teach more important things, as I said, just healthy lifestyles, healthy living, how to get back to community, how to be a leader. And at each and every one of our hockey schools, we host kind of like an event like this, not as big, not as many people attend, but definitely all the kids that attend our camp and all their family members, brothers, cousins, they come by and we do a short discussion on life lessons that we've learned or ways that they can get back and be leaders, and it's those events that I think that we're really proud of, because as I said, hockey's hockey and hockey's fun, but if you can be a good person and to learn to give back to your community and be a positive role model, then that's really the best thing hockey can teach you.
I think that deserves a round of applause for all the work. That's fantastic. So I want to talk a little bit about your playing days. You're a tremendous player. I mean, you played for the Oshawa Generals there. What was it like to be drafted there? And then for you, coming from Garden River, moving to Whitby, what was that initial reception like, that initial experience coming to Whitby, Ontario, and playing for the Generals?
Yeah, moving away from home was definitely really tough for the first time. We're a close family, my younger brother and my parents, so moving away for the first time at 16 years old and not having your mom do your laundry or cook for you or do whatever the stuff that moms do, that was really tough. And just moving away from home was really tough, and just took about probably 2 or 3 months to really get into feeling good about where I was, and you never look back at that time and say, oh, I'm gonna meet my wife here and have kids here and live here, but it's just the way it is. You're playing junior hockey and you think you're on top of the world. You got nothing to worry about except for going to school and play hockey. And I had a good coach at the time, George Burnett, who's still coaching currently now with I believe the Hamilton Bulldogs, but he was a good coach at the time. Mike Fuda, who's with the LA Kings now, and just good role models, good guys to play under, and they taught you about how to get back to the community. And as I said, you never thought you'd be living here, but 20 years later, 36 years old, here I am, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, you talk about some adversities you faced along the way, but I mean, you battled and battled and battled. You played, in the AHL, the ECHL. You even played for a season out in Sweden, but you finally reached that ultimate goal. You played for the Carolina Hurricanes, got a point in the AHL, which is so much more than many people can ever say. But for you to make it to that level, what was that like the first time you laced him up, threw that Hurricanes jersey on, and realized, oh my gosh, everything I've done so far has led to this moment, and I've finally achieved what I meant to achieve. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, you look and you're a kid and you think pro hockey is just easy and it's going to be like the time of my life, and it was extremely, extremely hard. I mean, I was in the minors, I was in the AHL. I got kicked around in the East Coast League, just grinding it out. Never really think you're going to make it. Some certain coaches can be really tough on you and not really good for your confidence. So, I mean, pro hockey, if you really look at it, is extremely hard, and you have to be so dedicated to your craft, and every day you're training, you're eating right. So it was a huge grind, and then to finally, as you said, to make it one day. I remember getting the call on December 22nd from my coach, and he said you might be going up to the NHL, to the Carolina Hurricanes, and I had long hair at the time, so he's like, you better go get a haircut. So I ran and got a haircut, and I was just waiting by the phone. It was about 2-3 hours, and then they finally did call and said you're going up, and played my first game in Tampa Bay against the Lightning, and I actually for the first time watched it a couple of weeks ago. I'd never seen myself play, and I didn't even really remember. I played against guys like Vinny Lecavalier and Martin St. Louis and Brad Richards, and then a couple of weeks after that, I got to play in Madison Square Garden against the Rangers. So. To be honest with you, that time was kind of a blur. You're in the NHL, and you never really think your dream's going to come true. Then it does. So, looking back now, I'm just extremely proud of what I accomplished at the time, and as I said, just really proud that it led me to what I'm doing now and to what I get to do for Indigenous people across Canada.
Well, I mean, the career that you had was impressive as it was, but simply a precursor for all the amazing work you're doing now, because that's just incredible. And who knows how many youth across the country whose dreams you've just begun, and then to see where they'll go will be very exciting. Lastly, I want to finish off on Three Nolans. Where are you guys headed next? And on top of that, if there's any way that any of our friends here can support, what's the best way to do that?
Well, we have a website, threenolans.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, all the fun social media stuff. But our next, we're in a lot of small, as I mentioned, fly-in communities that, a lot of the kids don't have a lot of access to certain things, just like easy things like equipment. So, and my son's team, along with his teammates, he's sitting there in the front row. And a couple other teams in the Whitby Minor Hockey Association that they're doing a hockey equipment drive right now, and I'm going to personally bring up some equipment to the communities we attend, and then we're also partnering with a nonprofit charity in Oshawa called Their Opportunity, and I'm going to partner with them to bring equipment to First Nation youth in Mississauga during the Little NHL, which is a tournament just for Indigenous youth during March break. Which has over 220 teams come to the area of Mississauga. So we're going to bring as much equipment to them. And so ways to get back, just check us out and watch for updates. And if you live in Whitby, please bring equipment to the rink, or I believe it's on Whitby Minor Hockey Association website as well. And we'll get that equipment to all these kids that just want to play hockey.
That is fantastic. Folks, please, can we get a big round of applause for Brandon Nolan? Thank you so much. It was fantastic meeting you in Fort McMurray. It's so great to have you out here once again, Brandon. Really appreciate you and everything that you're doing for Indigenous communities all across the country. We can't thank you enough. Folks, thank you so much for watching the Rogers Hometown Hockey Community Chat. One more big round of applause for our guest here, Brandon Nolan.
Your hot dog either. Okay, you go.
Select Blues, Brandon Nolan, sons on that team. They've done amazing work for First Nations.